Hey, look, everybody, Andrea's back. What are we driving today?
We've got the brand new Acura MDX, and boy, does it ever look sharp.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think this might be one of the best new SUVs I've driven in a long time.
Let's get in and take it for a drive.
So at Motoring TV, it's stories about cars and the people who drive them.
Yep.
This is a mummy mobile. You're a mummy. This is a mobile. You're in what? What are you driving?
I'm driving a 3.5 liter V6 engine with a 10-speed automatic transmission, 290 horsepower and 267 pound-feet of torque.
Now, the old transmission was a 9-speed. They added one more cog in the transmission, and with good results.
Oh gosh, what a difference. I think the best thing about this MDX is the way it handles.
Yeah, and the engine and the transmission are working well together because the engine is carried over, and a lot of people might say, well, you know, they could have done a little bit more there. It's working well together, really well together.
Yeah, really well. And you know what? It's a V6. Like, we get to keep the V6 instead of going to a turbocharged 4-cylinder, which is a real treat for a lot of people.
Now, it could be argued, Andrea, that this thing looks a little bit like the Mazda CX-9.
Yeah, you know what? It's the hood. It's a longer hood. In fact, this vehicle is longer and wider than the outgoing model.
The back even, with those sort of slightly circular lights at the edges, looks a little bit like the Mazda. But it also has some nice touches to it. For example, they went back to real exhaust finishers.
I know, I like that.
Now, the last model, they were faux. Now they're real.
Yeah, you got to have that. I don't think I like the faux. You know what else I like about the styling is the front grille. It has a diamond design to it, but it's not over styled. It is just the right size for this vehicle. And I also like the dual LED headlights.
Now, the inside, the vehicle is bigger. You get more space, especially in the back 2 rows.
Yeah, the second row is quite comfortable, quite spacious. I really like the seat back there. You can remove the middle seat so you can walk right through.
You can move it, but it's a bit heavy. It's a bit of a handful. It's not something you're going to pop in and out on a whim. You're actually going to have to plan it. But I could see a lot of families taking it out just so their kids aren't next to each other.
Yeah, and the console that you can bring down, it actually has the nice cup holders. I think it's really well organized back there. The third row is comfortable for an adult. There's actually more legroom, more headroom back there than the previous model. And the seats are 2 inches higher. So guess what? My knees aren't up at my chest in the third row. I could actually sit back there.
And when you open the cargo area with all 3 rows of seats up, it's amazing how much more room there is in this vehicle.
And what about that new feature with the storage underneath the floor? Is that not convenient or what?
It kind of reminds me when you take that tray out like it's like a big tub like you get in a minivan. There's lots of room in this. Now, looking forward, the most important seats are the front seats. These big screens, are they standard?
Yes, a 12.3-inch screen with a trackpad. This is not a touch screen. There isn't that option. And a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster. I think this is a real win for Acura. It's a showstopper in here with the big screens.
Now, the trackpad is controversial. I don't love it. And I don't love it for one big reason. It's kind of clumsy, but if you're in the passenger seat and you want to try to change any music or whatever, you got to use your left hand. For me, I'm right-handed. That is awkward, but for you on that side, it's awkward because you are left-handed.
I am left-handed and I am living in a right-handed world, so I actually don't find this to be too much of a big deal. Zach always laughs at me because sometimes, you know.
Well, I'm living it. I'm living it now, and I kind of get it.
So you feel for me.
Now, what about the push-button transmission? This is another love it or hate it kind of thing.
Yeah, I would prefer a proper console shifter, but because this vehicle handles so well and I really love how it maneuvers and the turning radius is excellent, I think I could probably live with it.
Andrea's absolutely right. The way this thing handles, for me, is the number one thing. So they went to double wishbone front suspension. Acura has used that in cars. Honda's used it in cars in the past. This is the first execution in MDX. You get a multi-link rear suspension, you get a stiffer platform, and it has this sort of like low and wide stance to it. It feels like a luxury sedan.
That's the thing about this. You know, I've always liked the MDX, but I never liked the drive. I felt like I was really driving a 7-passenger vehicle. That is not the case anymore. In fact, it feels more like a luxury vehicle than a premium vehicle.
And you have the dynamic mode button there, the biggest button in the middle of the dash, and it does make a difference. It changes the suspension, changes the shift patterns and engine throttle response, all of that. So that is certainly nice. Now, I think the number one thing we have to get into outside of the way it drives, because we both agree that's a massive improvement, is the price of this thing, which is a shocker. And the reason why Acura is the best-selling mid-size luxury SUV is because you get a lot of value, and with this one even more. What does it start at?
You got it, Zach. The value is there. This base model starts at $56,405, and the top trim, which we are test driving, the Platinum Elite, is $67,405.
When you compare it to the German competition, it shoots the lights out. When you compare it to that new GV80 from Genesis, it shoots the lights out. When you compare it even to high-end versions of like Palisade from Hyundai, there's some value here.
I think the key is that it comes with so much. There are so many standard features even on the base model, and really you just have to go up actually one trim to the tech trim to get some extra features, and it's still priced really well. All I can say is, wow, what a huge improvement to this MDX from the previous model.
And the price, when you look at the starting price and even this fully loaded one, compared to much of the competition, it looks like a real bargain. It is the best-selling 3-row midsize utility on the planet, and this one is going to cement that position.
If you consider Motoring TV's been on the air for 30 plus years, there's no doubt you've missed a few episodes. Well, there's a couple of ways you can catch up and make sure you don't miss anything. First, you can go to YouTube and look up just segments or complete shows. Also, if you want to know what we're doing, like today on a daily basis, just go to our Facebook page. And also, you can go to motoringtvshop.com, get some cool swag. Oh, there's also that Instagram thing.